Hi, this is Erin from Bossy Bee. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is to make a selection of little pots that I'm going to gift to my friends who have a gorgeous little cafe. If you've watched my previous videos, you saw that I made some little clay mushroom pot plant stakes last week, which they loved. I really want to focus on creating some lovely pieces that will fit beautifully with the cafe's pink and green colour scheme, while also complementing its cosy aesthetic of plants, flowers and greenery. Before I get started, I just wanted to share a couple of quick things that I've found are really helpful. This is a silicone placemat from Kmart in Australia, and I'm trialing that at the moment as an alternative to one of the silicone mats that you can roll up. And the tray I'm working on is a silicone tray, and this is it here. It's a pet feeding mat, and it's 60 centimetres by 40 centimetres, and it has the raised edges. If you're in Australia and you wanted to try those out, you can just get them from Kmart, and if you're a OnePass member, it's free delivery, so it's just brilliant. Now, what I wanted to show you is how I store my moulds. So these are silicone moulds, pots with no lids, which I've given a code to P1 to P3, a picture of them, and then in each of the tubs there's not only the mould, but I've cast one of the items in white, and I've written the number of the mould on the base. And so this helps me correlate which moulds I'm working with back to my spreadsheet, which I'll show you in a moment. And in the future, I may be going to do some painting classes where people can decorate their own pieces. So, these could be perfect for that. And I also use these when I ran a workshop for adults, just to show them what each mould looked like, because if you're new to this, it can be difficult to work them out. So the moulds that I wanted to work with today are, so this is for my friend who has the cafe, and she's looking for some cute little vase shapes, and so I like that one and that one, and I think this one. So that's that one, and that's that one. Okay, so I'll keep those out just for the moment, and then once I've used them, I wash them in warm soapy water and then rinse them, and then I just let them dry on a drying mat, and then they go back in here. And this one, let's have a look. So this one's so cute. I love that one. Here we go. Put that there. I love this one. This one's adorable. It almost reminds me of an old-fashioned sort of a milk jug, and probably this one. Okay, so now I've got all of those, I will go and start getting everything ready. Okay, this is just one of many pages of my mould inventory sheets, and I wanted to just show you how I do it. So for example, P8, I've got one of those moulds. The capacity or the volume is 145 mils. If I do it in an eco, then I need 75 grams of water, and then that takes it up to 300 grams in total. So 3 times the 75 for my eco casting powder. Then if I know where I got it from, or that's important, I pop that in this column. Here I put in the size of any supports if I need them, and by supports I've made a whole series of little rings that can go round, see the bottom of this mould, and to keep them in their shape. Notes, usually I'll put there something like, do not cast this in eco, or a matte mould, things like that. Workshop, that just means ones that I would feel confident about other people using and having a high success rate with. The dimensions, I always note how high and then the diameter, whether I've got an eco sample or not, and whether I've taken a photograph of the white cast item and what tub they're in. So that's how I keep those pieces of information together. Speaking of the supports, as I call them, I wanted to just show you how quick and easy they are to make. So I'm very lucky I've got a laser cutter. You could do these on a Cricut, or you can just draw the circles by hand and cut them out. So what I do is, this is a self-adhesive chipboard. I cut it out and I engrave on it the dimensions, and then I just put it together with this other sort of heavier duty cardboard, and there you go. So I just go down, work out what I need, and it's nice and easy. And I just keep these in a little tub. They don't always work, and they certainly don't work for every mould, but we'll see today if they help. So yeah, that's all I do. If you were cutting them out by hand, you can even just use cereal boxes or things like that. You really don't need anything fancy. Okay, I've gone through and I've allocated a colour to each of the moulds, and so I'm pretty much ready to get started. First mould I'm going to do is this one. So I know it's P8 and I know that it needs a 55mm support. So I'll just pop that around. Hopefully you can see what that does. And I know I need 75 grams of water and 225 grams of powder. So I'll get that powder measured out now. I'll only show the first one because otherwise it gets extremely repetitive. So I'll pop my cup on, tear it back to 0, and then we put in 225 grams. So this is SolidCrete from Solid Solutions in Australia, and it's a very pure white mineral casting powder, and it is a 3:1 ratio. And if you're interested in learning how to measure your molds and work out what amount of product you need, I will link an informative video, I think it's informative, in the description box for you, because I've, really tried to work hard on getting my measurements pretty much spot on, or at least just a little bit left over. Hopefully not under, because that gets frustrating. Okay, so I've got 225 grams of powder, and I know that I'm going to need 70 grams of water. Perfect. And I've decided just to keep track of the colours a little bit better today. I'm going to measure how much of the mica powder I put into each one. So I've got this cute little teaspoon set. You might have seen it on previous videos. It's got all the old-fashioned measurements on it, as well as the metric. This one is 1/4 teaspoon or a tad. This one is 1/8 of a teaspoon or a dash. This one is 1/16 of a teaspoon or a pinch. This one is a smidgen, 1/32 of a teaspoon. And this one is 1/64 of a teaspoon, and it's called drop. Always makes me happy. So we need aquamarine, which I've got here. Again, Solid Solutions. It's a pearlescent mica powder. I'm not going to be terribly precious about measuring. I'm going to put 4 of these, so that equals 1 teaspoon. Go a little bit under on this one because I've gone a bit more generous on the others. Okay, just wipe the spoon off so it's ready for the next one. Then I'm just going to stir the mica powder into the mineral casting powder. And the way I like to remember how to work with eco casting powder is powder colorants into powder, liquid into liquid. So if I was using a liquid today to colour, I would put that into the water and mix it thoroughly first. Now I usually don't get super fussy about how blended this is, but I know that my friend doesn't love marbled appearances so much. She more likes just one colour. So it's going to be a little bit marbled though, isn't it? Because that's just the nature. Okay, trying to dig down to the bottom. And I've got my water here, and so then all I do is just mix those two together. When I get to the bottom, I'll just give that a little stir around. Okay, if I'm short, it's because I'm messy. Okay, give this a mix together. I love that colour. So we'll just gently pour it in. I'm about 1/3 of the way now, so I'm just going to give it a little jiggle and a wiggle. Absolutely spot on. Okay, just going to sit that one over there, and I can already see from the side there is a teeny little bit of marbling, but I will just let her know that's part of the process. All right, I'm just going to clean this up. Okay, so for P8 we'll go 1 teaspoon. All right, so I'll just start going through them all now without necessarily showing you all of the details, and see what we come up with. So I've got this little one next, P9, and I'm doing this one in Cherry Blossom Pink. So I'll put that there, that there. And I can see for this one I need a 45. Now that doesn't sound right to me, but so some of them I've worked out. Yeah, that is perfect. Some of them, the supports go down a little bit lower, and others just around that ring part. And this is one of the latter. Okay, so we've got our powder and we've got our Cherry Blossom Pink, and this time I think I'm only going to do 1/2 teaspoon. So we'll see how that goes. Try and be a bit neater this time. So this should be a really pale pink. That's lovely. Okay, you also have to remember that you're competing with white because the product is naturally bright white. So whatever you put into the mix, whether it is a liquid pigment or powders, paints, whatever you use, you do have to remember that it is going to be effectively, I guess, watered down by the white. Okay, absolutely perfect. Lovely. All right, so I'll pop this one back here. Okay, we update our chart. We had 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, next cab off the rank is P4, and I can see that I need 2 supports for this one, a 55 and 65. Okay, let's try and work out why. So 65 must go on first, okay, and then 55 goes on next. And this one I'm doing in is jungle green. All right, so this one, so jungle green, we'll go half a teaspoon again for this. Now this is interesting, I mismeasured. I can tell because of how watery it is. That's annoying. I won't be a second and I'll get powder. I know exactly what I did, which is even more annoying. So this one is going to be 3/4 of a teaspoon because that was only 2/3 of the powder. I had a bit of a brain blip. It's feeling better. That would have just been a big runny mess. Okay. Absolutely perfect. So, having said how perfect it is, I might just take out the teeniest bit. All right, so I'll fill in my sheet. So jungle green was 3/4 of a teaspoon, and our next one is this one, which for me is P6, and I'm going to do this one in Sweet Pea Pink. And tells me I need a 75mm. Would help if I get the mould support, which I can't do with one hand here. Whoops. All right. Okay, so even though there is a lot of powder in this one, it's quite a substantial mould, I'm only going to put half a teaspoon of the Sweet Pea Pink in. I want to see if I can get a really pretty pale pink. Could have even gone just 1/4 of a teaspoon, I think. Loving the measurements today. All right, more than halfway through. Yay. Okay, this one is P5 on my chart. I'm going to use Dusty Rose, and this one I don't have anything written down about a support. So, oops. Yeah, I'm really not loving this, and I will note that on the chart, and I might need to, it's nearly cured anyway, might need to rethink that one. Okay, so this one, are we going, this is a 55, and I think that is spot on. So I'll add that to my chart for future reference, pop that one there, and get on Dusty Rose. Okay, if you notice residue in there, it's because I reuse these cups over and over. Okay, Dusty Rose. So, do we want to go darker or lighter? Let's have a look. 2.25. I might do a full teaspoon for this one and just see. It's all an experiment. I just love this colour. That is gorgeous. I wish it would stay exactly like that. I'm not sure what it'll end up doing, but I like it just like that. Pop that there. Let's push on. Okay, this one is P5 on my chart. I'm going to use Dusty Rose, and this one I don't have anything written down about a support. So, oops. Yeah, I'm really not loving this, and I will note that on the chart, and I might need to, it's nearly cured anyway, might need to rethink that one. Okay, so this one, are we going, this is 55, and I think that is spot on. So I'll add that to my chart for future reference, pop that one there and get on Dusty Rose. Okay, if you notice residue in there, it's because I reuse these cups over and over. Okay, Dusty Rose. So, do we want to go darker or lighter? Let's have a look. 2.25. I might do a full teaspoon for this one and just see. It's all an experiment. I just love this colour. That is gorgeous. I wish it would stay exactly like that. I'm not sure what it'll end up doing, but I like it just like that. That there. Well, that's a little bit embarrassing. I got these 5 done, and then I went to do something I can't remember, and I was just so overwhelmingly tired. I don't sleep at night. I have some stuff going on after the incident at school, and I'll lay down on the bed for a minute and just snuggle up with the dogs. Oh my goodness, it's now an hour and a half later. Anyway, so this is where we're up to. So I think what I'll do is I'll move these down here, because I would like to demold them all at the same time. And that is so heavy, that one. And then I can start on the last couple. All right, so we've got these 2 here. So I've got, this one is P10, which is this one, and P11. So neither of them have got anything written here. So I'm wondering if that's because I have never had a problem, but I'll see how it looks when they get filled. And we've got Robin's Egg Blue for P10. I think it would help me if I had them this way. Sorry for the crisscrossing. Right, so, okay, so we need Robin's Egg Blue, which is here. Our powder, and we'll grab our teaspoon. And gosh, I'm tempted to try just 1/4 teaspoon for one of these, which would mean it's sort of a off-white more than anything. It's 1/4 teaspoon. Mix that through. I'm loving how pale that is. It's barely there mint at the moment. And our water. All right, so that's what each is looking like. Spot on. And now do I think that's just staying. All right, now I'll fill in the chart for that one. So that is Robin's Egg Blue, and we'll put 1/4 of a teaspoon, and I'll put 45, but in brackets I'm going to put 40 question mark because I've got other sizes that I can try. And then our last one is P11 turquoise blue, and I'll get that mixed up. It's really interesting. These ones I've gone very exact with, so I must have, the last time I made them, I must have been a bit annoyed and got it exactly spot on. All right, okay, turquoise blue, and I'm thinking that we've got, maybe I go dark. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is 1 teaspoon. Do you know what? For the last one, I'm going to double down. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons. Okay, and we will just tip that into the water. Okay, I didn't do a very good job of getting to the bottom of that one. Done. That is so pretty. Okay, now the other one I was going to do today is I showed her the little dish. I'll put a picture up here that I did in resin. So this came in the resin mold box package for June, and so it takes 130 mils, and so what I'm going to do is multiply that by 1.9, and then that will give me the total I need. Okay, I think I was carrying on from doing the colours and I've measured it out, but I'll add it in this way. Okay, that's looking very pretty. That looks fine. So I'll be able to come back in an hour and demold everything. Demolding time. I'm just going to move these off so I can fit more on here. So far, this silicone placemat is going really well. All right, it's getting late in the day, which is why I've got all these shadows. I'm sorry. It's just one of those things. Okay, all right. This is so exciting. Okay, let's have a look. So this one is the one that I put jungle green in and 3/4 of a teaspoon. That is gorgeous. So definitely some blotches there from unmixed mica and powder. Tiny little bubble there. Okay, super happy with that one. What have we got next? P5. So this one is one we did with Dusty Rose and 1 teaspoon. I remember this. It's so funny when you haven't used a mould for a little while and then you suddenly remember how tricky it is. That was a satisfying plop. Okay, I'm off that. All right, our next one is the one we did with, no, not that one. This one we did with Sweet Pea Pink, 1/2 teaspoon. So this is going to be quite a pale result. Okay, that is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. One goes there. Okay, the next one is this one that we did in aquamarine, and I put 1 teaspoon of mica powder into this one. That's so much easier to do. See what I mean about the marbling and I guess the patchiness. It's an interesting one with mica powder. So that's just gorgeous. Super happy with that one. That is just so silky smooth. Okay, our next one we did with the cherry blossom, and I did only 1/2 teaspoon in this one. However, it looks quite dark. That was a good one. Okay. There is that one. I love that shape. It looks so sweet with a little ribbon or twine around it as well. Now, we've got our 2 green ones. So we'll do this one first. So this one we did 1/4 teaspoon of robin's egg blue. So just a barely there amount. This one's still warm. So that is so pretty. It's just like a barely there mint. Then our last little one, turquoise blue, and this one I put 2 teaspoons in, so this should be quite a strong colour all over. I love that. It's definitely not giving twice as much colour vibes as the others, but if you compare those two, I think that's really pretty. Okay, and I'm excited to see this one. When I demolded this piece in resin, I'd used the Solid Solutions Titanium White Epoxy Resin Pigment Paint, and it was just beautiful. It was just one of the nicest things I've ever made. My goodness. It's beautiful. I love that so much. And why I'm getting ridiculously excited over a stand. It's just looks so lovely. Okay, let's see how we did with the actual dish. Look, it's beautiful. That was something that was in the mould and I should have cleaned it properly. I just love that. Wonderful. Well, I'll set all of these aside to cure over the next 3 days. And then we'll have another look at them and I can seal them all. These have all cured now for 3 days and it's time to have a look at them and decorate some of them. So I've got little bits of tattoos that I've sort of been considering around here, and this one, which is the one I sort of feel looks a little bit like a milk jug. I think I'm going to pop this one on one side and then the smaller one on the other side. So I might do that first. And to do this, I'm going to, these are temporary tattoos. So I'm going to take the plastic top layer off, press them down and then really dampen them, and then when I feel them wiggle a bit, I know it's time to take off. I don't know how well they're going to work. I'll do one and consider it. I'll start with the little one first, and of course I'm putting them on a curved surface, so that's another consideration that you need to take into account when you are using temporary tattoos. Just have a look around. There's no bits I really want to disguise or anything, which is good. I don't really have any definite ideas about placement. Okay, so I've just got a microfiber cloth and a little dish of water. So these are not sealed. They are needing to be sealed, but I'm hoping that putting them on prior to sealing is going to give me a better finish. Now, of course, the water that I'm dabbing on is going to change the colour of the pot. Oops, there we go. And that's what it's looking like. Now, I've just had a memory about doing this before, that when I've tried this before and then when I sealed over the top of it, I think the colour underneath the tattoo stayed a different colour. So I think I'm going to just stop there, let that dry, and then seal it and check before I do all of the others. Now, this one is the white little, I don't know, little mini cake plate or stand, and I think that's just so sweet. And this one, I sent my friend a few options and she chose this pattern, and I think that's really pretty. And I'm putting it, instead of putting it in the middle, I'm putting it on the edge, because then whatever you sit here, you've got a better chance of being able to see the flowers. So do exactly the same, take that plastic top covering off, turn it over, and I'm going to get it in as close as I can to the edge there, and then wet that down. Now I've got two little matching ones of these, and I was going to try and put them on the base. I don't know how that is going to go because this is a curved surface, so it's torn already a little bit, but just see what happens when I dampen it. Try and press it all down. If it doesn't look nice, I will just remove it and sand it off. Okay, let's see how this one is going. Here we go. Wow, that looks so lovely up against that crisp white, doesn't it? Okay, we'll have a look at the base. Movement? No, that's not working. So I don't think this one is going to be. Hang on, it could be. Look at that. Well, that's pretty. So yeah, I think that's lovely. Well, now I've done that, I might just see if I can trim this even closer. Okay, and then just thinking, what if I cut it here, just a tiny little wedge out of it, and perhaps in here, and so that's going that way. I think just try and do this one lower. I want it to go probably that way. Look at that. This looks like something almost Victorian and old-fashioned, so I think that's really pretty. Okay, so oops, I'm going to keep all that clean. So as soon as this is dried, I'll seal it and then decide. If I seal it, that means I've only got the one on there, so maybe I do need to just go all in, because if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. I'll make another one. Okay, so we're going to go opposite and we'll go down like that. over how pretty that is. Okay, so there we go, we've got a little pattern on both sides. I'll let these dry and then try and seal them. Back again, and those temporary tattoos have dried perfectly. So I went and raided my waxing and sealing tub and got out lots of options. We've got the Buan Nicole sealer wax up the top. We've got the Gillies liquid wax. I've got, I think it's Anko brand sealer. And then I found this that I've never used before, and it's Solid Solutions Clear Sealer. And I think it's designed for art, for sealing canvases and things like that. But I thought I'd give it a try and see if that would work well with the temporary tattoos. I'm sacrificing the base of the little pink pot just to see what it feels like and, you know, what it is like to apply. And then I'm just going to go for it. So this goes on, not quite white, it's a little bit milky looking, but it dries completely clear and it's waterproof as well once it's dried. Now I just need to wait for those to dry so I can seal them all over, and that will, you know, let me know how my test is going. I'm going to now seal this next little, the darker green pot with the Gillies liquid wax. And this is a beeswax and it's mixed with a citrus oil and it smells divine and it feels so nice on my skin. It's so lovely to work with and it really does give a beautiful sheen to the eco casting material, and I always make sure I do inside and outside, and then afterwards I will do the base of everything as well. The next one I'm going to use is the Art Co. I think Art Co is the brand, yes. And I remembered now, this is one I got from Harry and Wilma in Australia. And it's a very watery sealer and it doesn't seem to sort of add anything to a piece, but that might be what you want. You might want something that's just quite, you know, barely there. I'm going to check the 2 pieces, or 3 pieces actually, that I've worked with and sealed the tattoos, and I've really been impressed. I think it's working. They are nearly fully dry and the tattoos seem very much now just part of the finish, which is exactly what I want, and I'm really hopeful actually. I'm quite excited about this. I decide that it is safe for me to go ahead and start applying the tattoos to all of the other pieces that I've planned to do, and so I'll just whiz through this part because it's exactly the same as I've just shown you. Some of them don't work as well as others, but that often happens with temporary tattoos. It's just one of those things. Sometimes you might try and take the backing paper off too early, or it might have a crease in it or something. You just never know. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how they're looking. All that is, apart from this green one, and I just decided to scrub off that tattoo, so it didn't last long. Now I'm using the Solid Solutions Clear Sealer again to go over all of the pieces that I've applied tattoos to, and then I'm going to use the Gillies Liquid Beeswax to do a final seal on all the other items, And then once the ones with tattoos are dry, I do the same with those. I'm really excited to pack all of these up and take them over and show my friend and see what she thinks of them. So I've got some that are not decorated and some that are. I've got some that are pink and some that are green, some darker, some lighter. So I'm really hoping that that allows me to get a good feel for what she would like in the cafe. And yeah, it's sort of exciting to see what she says. After these have sat for a little while with their final finish on them, I take another clean microfiber cloth and I'm just going to use this to buff them. So to soak up any excess wax and to give them a sort of a rub all over and a shine, and just double check I've got all of the outside covered and inside of course as well. The next thing I need to do is to glue the bottom piece of the little, well, we call it a cake stand or what, display plate, onto the main piece. And I've made a bit of an error here. I should have thought about the positioning of the flowers on the base relative to the actual dish, and I didn't. Still turns out really pretty, but I think I could have done that better. I'm just using a ruler to make sure that I'm approximately in the center, and I've got E6000 glue holding that down, and then I can seal that base. I did want to mention too that the Gillies wax that I sealed the little stand with is all completely food safe. I popped each piece onto a little rotating display stand and took a little video for you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it, and I've had a lot of fun making these items, and I will update my social media pages once they are in situ at the cafe. I'm also about to show you some photos which are my exact product photos, but with AI generated backgrounds and props and things, and I hope you think that they look pretty. The first one makes me feel hungry. I just think that's so sweet. And so here are the 3 plain ones, and then we've got the 4 with the temporary tattoos. I did also want to just mention very quickly that this month I've pledged to walk 100 kilometres to support breast cancer trials in Australia. It's called the Big Bold Walk. I did post on my socials on the 1st, which was a couple of days ago, all about it. There are some very personal reasons why I'm doing this, and I go into details about that there. So I'll pop a link in the description box. If you would like to donate even $1, it would be amazing. But if not, it's still an awareness activity. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you again. Bye for now.